Weekly Shonen Jump. It's the magazine where all your favorite series come into fruition from the panel-by-panel extravagant experience that is a manga. And down the line, if they manage to stick around long enough, will be brought to life in the form of an anime. We all know and love this magazine because of its impressive roster from the generational lineup it's had over time. Young or old, it doesn't matter because there's been a plethora of series that have stapled themselves within the Hall of Fame of the magazine from every decade since the Jump. Shonen has always been a demographic that's been impressive to say the least, and with this magazine going on for as long as it has while only taking a few breaks out of the year every year since its release, it's honestly quite impressive to say just in the slightest. Even with the popular range of normal consumers of anime and manga, there always seems to be a new debate on what's the greatest of all time, and little do the public know is that most of their favorites all come from the same place of Weekly Shonen Jump. It's a miracle that creatives from all ages can come into the magazine and craft a series that will soon to become the next big hit. All it really takes is for a solid studio to pick up on the pace on it, and boom, before you know it, the kid from down the street is wearing a shirt of the series you read from chapter 1 a few years back. It almost gives you a sense of entitlement knowing that most of us manga readers were already reading these series from the Jump, and feeling like you put people on their new favorite series is just a bragging right of its own. And even having those who loved your recommendation come back for more, well, it's like a reward. However, if we're going to mention something that's rewarding, let's make it special and start from the beginning. Like most readers and watchers of all things Jump related, from the very beginning, my journey started with a little known series by the name of Dragon Ball. I'm sure none of you have heard of it, it's pretty niche. Just kidding. But like most of us, I think 9 times out of 10, Dragon Ball was a huge gateway into the shonen demographic for nearly everyone watching this video. I of course was one of those watchers who grew up with the series, and it had me intrigued to check out more just like it. And that's when I found out about Weekly Shonen Jump. The magazine, like I said, where all your dreams come true and more. Weekly Shonen Jump has evolved over the years to become something that has always had material to be inspired from and innovative upon. The best example from my eyes is looking at where I started and seeing that material taken and implemented into series that have come and gone out of the magazine. You have Fist of the North Star being one of those Hall of Famer series that really revolutionized the magazine, inspiring so many mangaka like Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto, in his younger years when he was just reading the magazine, who was also inspired by Yoshihiro Togashi, creator of both Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, who, again, had also had a huge impact on recent mangaka Gege Akutami's work of Jujutsu Kaisen, with both those series being two of the biggest sources of Akutami's inspiration for Jujutsu Kaisen. If you kind of see the pattern where I'm going with this, it kind of all comes full circle. It's really all about innovation at Jump that forges these series that we all know and love. But what about what's being tackled today? What's going on today with the lineup of Shonen Jump currently? Jump's lineup is within a decent state, but hell, I mean it could definitely be a lot better, let's be honest. This somewhat consistent lineup, and keyword consistent, currently consists of One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, Sakamoto Days, Undead Unluck, Mission Yozakura Family, Blue Box, Kagurabachi, and many more. These series all in some way, shape, or form have made a name for themselves, whether it be from growing a quick fanbase enough to see another day, revolutionizing the magazine, having a quick rise to fame from memes alone, or just being the modern king of shonen as we know it. Speaking about kings though, One Piece, as most of us know, is reaching the end as we know it. And not too long ago, Eiichiro Oda, the mangaka of this series, has said that yeah, buckle up, because we are in the endgame of the story, and that pretty much everything accumulated over this wonderful and long journey, like the mysteries, like the hidden secrets, like all of these things that we fans of the series have been waiting to be unraveled, will finally come into full fruition, one chapter at a time until the end of the series. It's said to be given roughly around like 3 to 5 years time, which makes sense considering we are nearing the end of Egghead Island, which means we're off to Elbaf potentially really soon, and I've been thinking like Lodestar Island, which would be a great choice considering Roger sailed there right before his voyage to Laugh-Tale, the final island, which, you know, is where the One Piece is at, which again would put us in the debate of whether or not the final war will happen before or after Laugh-Tale, then on to probably like the Epilogue, which would put us somewhere between, I kind of want to estimate around 2027 and or 2028. As for the rest of the Jump though, every single series currently serializing like Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero Academia should have their end within the next year, maybe year and a half. But that's if they really want to flesh out the series, because from the looks of it, they both are in the end game, especially My Hero Academia. So I'm probably gonna say like roughly around maybe the end of this year is probably when they will both end. So what next though? Well, Sakamoto Days and Undead Unluck and the rest of the series that have somewhat a decent amount of chapters in the magazine, they seem to have been more popular than ever, gaining quite the fandom within the last few years or so, but it doesn't really seem like they're any of the type of series to really be your typical long-running shonen. And by long, I mean like probably around like 300 chapters plus. And some of you may be asking, what about Hunter x Hunter? Well, Hunter x Hunter is like the Avatar, master of all manga elements, but when you really need it most, it just vanishes. So with Hunter x Hunter being more so of a wild card, I kind of just don't really know what to say about it other than if it happens to be somewhat still in the magazine by the time One Piece ends, maybe it could be the next phase, but ask yourself, can you really rely on something that has the upload schedule of Hunter x Hunter? Well, I'll just answer that for you. You can't. I think, however, to play devil's advocate, if Togashi was to somewhat make a turnaround within his health and manage to fully dedicate his time to the manga of Hunter x Hunter, it could make a huge impact in the series. It's still renowned for its slight return recently when Togashi came back for about 10 chapters or so. He managed to still insanely remain relevant because of how well this series has cemented itself within manga history throughout its time of being serialized. If you're to ask me though, it would be cool to see some familiar faces coming back into the magazine like Furudate or Sorachi, mangaka of both Haikyuu and Gintama, since they both had outstanding series that ended not too crazy long ago. I guess Haikyuu ended a few years ago and Gintama did end a little bit over that. It's been quite a while actually now that I think about it. But it would be really cool to see them make a return into the magazine. There's also the question whether or not Kubo will come back, mangaka of Bleach and Burn the Witch, if you didn't already know. But Burn the Witch still hasn't made any news of returning anytime soon, and like most, we're still betting on having Kubo come back to Bleach and making that Hell arc because of his special one-chapter release not too long ago. But outside of the mangaka that we all know and love, and that have made a name for themselves, what about the ones who still need something to prove? Well, as for the newbies, the most truthful way to put it is that you can't really rely on them either, at least until they have a chance to reach the threshold. There have been plenty of times, at least over here in the West, where a manga becomes really popular in the magazine and you get really attached to it early on and then boom, out of nowhere, axed and ghosted like the last girl you try to talk to. It's really sad, honestly. So you can't really depend on these newer series until they build up enough chapters to call themselves a staple within the magazine. It's honestly just not worth it. But with the direction Kagurabachi is going in, along with maybe, and I say maybe in quotations, Ruri Dragon, since they actually haven't decided to axe it with it being gone for so long, maybe they have some contention of impacting the magazine down the line, but again, I wouldn't count on it. So this is where I want to talk about recruitment. What is the magazine gonna do after One Piece is gone, after Hunter x Hunter, JJK, MHA, you name it, is all gone from the magazine? Is Weekly Shonen Jump just fated to end when their biggest hit in the magazine ends? Well, to tell you the truth, probably. Unless they decide to do something about it soon. And I mean soon. We still have some time for creatives to come into the magazine and showcase what they have to offer from their stories. The key to survival is pretty simple actually, but they need to do it right. Like I mentioned towards the start, Jump has been built off of inspiration and innovation from throughout the years. It's been a pretty clear pattern that any major manga that has come into the magazine and has made a name for themselves in some way, shape, or form has taken into account that formula. By taking inspiration is what has held this world of manga, but the world around us, into bigger and better heights. I think in order to save Weekly Shonen Jump, it's gonna need a savior on its own, and not just one, but a few. So let's talk about what I like to call the Shonen Jump Initiative. I already know this is gonna sound so corny, but the idea is to bring together a collective of remarkable manga to see if they can become something more than what has ever been done before. And are you gonna sue me if I basically quote Nick Fury? Well, you can't, so ha! Anyways, I like to think it's possible to see Shonen Jump having another golden era after the end of One Piece, seeing it as the new era of the magazine. It could completely set the tone for what is to be set up moving forward. The problem is, long-running shonen just seem really hard to come around these days, and considering most things people enjoy just end up getting axed or rushed even, though it's gonna be tough, but they can pull it off. I think if Jump wants to stay alive, they're gonna need a few new series that plan on sticking around the magazine for quite a while, and soon at that. I think ideally, if we were to hypothetically, let's say, get a few new series within the next year or so to come in and say, hey, we're here to stick around, like a MHA or like a Black Clover even, though it's no longer in the magazine. Tabata, the mangaka of Black Clover, did mention though, however, he wanted his series to stick around long enough, like a Naruto and or a Bleach, to stack up to their level of reputation. What's missing though is some considerate world building and a revolutionary power system that does not copy, but takes the best factor from its peers who have succeeded right before it in the past and turn it into something that people like you and I are going to love. And truth be told, I get it. It's really not as easy as it sounds, but what I think most series are doing wrong is that they're trying to do something completely brand new and failing time after time again, and it just isn't working. Look, the way I see it, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But just to note, I'm not saying they should only be doing battle shonen in order for the magazine to survive. It doesn't have to be battle shonen. Well, I guess I kind of have been saying that it does need to be a battle shonen for the magazine to survive. But let me just try to make it make more sense for it like this type of video. For what the magazine's been known to be good at, I just don't see why they don't at least try to get a few more series to stick to that formula. So for one, they can have more series to have cycling in popularity in the magazine and hopefully not fall off. I'm all for other genres and trying new things. Trust me, I am. It's just like, I know there are manga artists out there that are dying to create the next One Piece, Naruto, and or Bleach even, and have their series be known to be that next big hit. But if they don't do something soon, I think Weekly Shonen Jump may be doomed, but who really knows at this point? As long as it continues to publish compelling content and evolve with the changing times, it's likely to maintain its popularity as one of the greatest catalog of manga to ever exist. I mean though, Weekly Shonen Magazine and Jump Plus recently have both been striving, and that's because of their innovative series that are following that formula and bringing in new material at the same time that seems to be lasting longer for their magazines. Overall though, Weekly Shonen Jump has stood as the cultural icon we all know and love, shaping the imaginations of readers and viewers across generations. Throughout its history, it has weathered challenges and adapted to new trends and consistently delivered captivating stories that resonate with fans all over the world. Ultimately, the future of Weekly Shonen Jump is not to be said to decline, but hopefully to endure and evolve with its remaining times. It remains a beacon of inspiration, transcending boundaries and inspiring imaginations around the globe like you and I. And as long as there are stories to be told and hearts to be touched, I think Jump can and hopefully will continue to thrive. It's been a testament to the timeless power of storytelling throughout these years, and honestly, I don't know where I'd be without it. So get excited, because I'm betting it all on this new era of Weekly Shonen Jump.